All right, here we go. Welcome, everyone. This is Jay Hill with my co-host Shane Feek. I am broadcasting live at the Maxwell Mansion in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, at the hotel. Tonight's special guest, we have Mark Kenny from West London Paranormal. He will be here shortly, I'm sure. So, in the meantime, why don't we talk about what's been going on with you, Shane, in the recent days?
Well, not too much. Been doing some audio projects. Been doing some bonfires with friends, just hanging out. Went fishing last week.
Right on.
Going out for the first time in the year, so
that's cool.
Pretty good.
Eventually, I want to be able to finish a project I've been working on. I've got like one of those spirit box, like a dead box type deal.
Okay.
I got a piece of equipment that I want to add to it, and I want to try it out sometime on live. But
Sure.
Until then, it's just with work and everything else. It's just been crazy, you know. So, but our guest tonight actually is from Paraflixx as well. I mean, his show on Paraflixx is fantastic. If anybody, doesn't know what Paraflixx is, it's a streaming service that it's kind of like Netflix, but it's for the paranormal field, and it's just fantastic. I've watched quite a bit of the content on there, and it's really cool. It's very legit and very entertaining in that sense. There's a lot of great evidence that I've kind of discovered on some of the teams that have shows on there. There's, the West London Paranormal, and there's also Dead Hours podcast is on there. Paranormal Geek is on there. That's a pretty cool show.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's Our Haunted House.
Yeah, our haunted lives with Dave Taylor. Yeah, and
Christy. Yep.
Christy. Yep. Yeah, we got to have them back because they were so much fun.
They were great.
Yeah. So, and just seeing that they were just recently down in not too long ago, I think it was, or she was in New Orleans or something like that. And so, yeah, I mean, going around and exploring different places, around the U.S. it's been a dream of mine to be able to go and investigate and whatnot. And,
yep.
Get evidence and help people and stuff like that. But I will say I have discovered this weekend, and you may laugh, but it's I discovered TikTok.
Okay.
Okay. Now, a couple of the friends of mine that were on Facebook in the paranormal field were talking about TikTok, and I kind of looked it up, and I'm like, yeah, this is kind of cool. And then I saw that one of my friends actually posted some really good stuff on there, and the views and the likes and the following was just astronomical. I couldn't believe it.
Sure.
So I created an account and posted a couple for Studio 6 Paranormal podcast, and I think within like the first hour I probably had maybe, I don't know, 50 or 60 likes. I mean, it was kind of cool, but I was just like, and then I started watching other videos, and I have to tell you,
can't unsee.
Yeah, exactly. There's some things you just cannot unsee, and that you probably just wish that you probably didn't see it. So yeah, I mean, it's just, and a lot of the videos that, like my wife likes some of that stuff. She just kind of started getting into it, and it's addicting. I mean, it's really just like, all of a sudden, I'm sitting here for an hour watching these videos, and I'm just like,
my kid does TikTok. I don't have an account, but she does it.
Yeah. So all right, so
the crazy dances and whatnot.
Right. So I've got Mark Kenny. Are you ready? Hey, brother.
I'm ready.
Hey, there he is.
I'm very well. What a mission this was.
I don't know if you heard me. I was talking about TikTok, and I just thought that was crazy. And some of that stuff I was seeing that paranormal people were posting, evidence
TikTok.
on TikTok. Yeah. And I was
TikTok's like one of the Yeah, I was going to say TikTok's one of the biggest growing platforms at the moment, and people are putting a lot of their stuff on there, and it seems to be more exposure than it does putting it through the Facebook network, Twitter, or anything like that. So that's where people are going at the moment.
I've kind of learned that. I was like, holy crap. I'm like, are you serious? And and my wife was like, wow, that's crazy. I said, yeah, I wish I would have found it sooner. But yeah.
Well, it's great to hear the British accent again.
Yes.
Yeah. Is it early morning your time now, isn't it?
It's noon, actually. It's 6 o'clock here, right?
6 o'clock in the UK, yeah.
Yeah. Right on. So, you know me. This is my co-host, Shane Feek.
Yo.
It's good to meet you guys.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. I mean, I had asked you a while ago, about a month or so ago, to be on the show, and I was like, hoping everything was going to transpire, because we didn't know how this was all going to take off, and because it was pretty early when I asked you. So I'm really grateful that you agreed to come on, because
I've had a lot of stuff to get on with. Not only that, podcasting's not. I don't usually do podcasts. You know that. I said that before.
All right. So,
I've had a lot going on.
This is really great that you agreed to do this.
Yeah.
So.
Oh no, you know.
Yeah. I wanted to say that I've cut some of your stuff on Paraflixx, and man, that's awesome stuff.
Yeah. Paraflixx is awesome.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got started with your paranormal and how you guys ended up on Paraflixx?
Yeah. God, it goes back how long now? About 3 years ago. It started off. I mean, I've always been into paranormal since a child. You see it all on the TV and you want to do it and all that. But only recently, I think 3 years ago, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go to one of these paranormal events that they do. So I went there along. I think my first event I went to was actually at East Drive in Pontefract. What a place that was to start off with. I mean, we got to do, a few experiments there, and it was just intriguing. And from there, I was with a friend at that time called Steve, and I said to him, look, why don't we do this ourselves? We did sit down. Obviously, because of the distance between us two, it didn't sort of go ahead. But then from that time, I decided to get myself a camcorder and go to these places with other teams and film. So that's when I sort of come up with the name West London Paranormal. Went round with other teams, filming some bits and bobs, and uploading to YouTube. And only within the last 2 years is when I think it's about a year and a half, I had Rich with me, who is the guy that does all the research for the locations and the historian behind it all, which, I mean, you need that sort of stuff when you're in paranormal. He's a great investigator. His knowledge and everything all behind the history, that's what you need. I mean, and the duo we both bring together. I mean, we've been getting some phenomenal activity, results, Class A EVPs. What do we do? With Paraflixx, if we're going to go down this, Paraflixx, we were approached in December, I think. Nick, I know Nick personally. Great guy. He wanted to talk, but unfortunately at that sort of time, I had issues going on at home over Christmas and everything, which we sort of delayed it. But we sat down, we had a meeting with Natalie, and it went from there, really. We got signed up to Paraflixx, and now we put our stuff on there, and we're getting great feedback and results from it. Not only that, I think, it's recently they just signed to Broccoli TV as well, which makes life a lot easier. Right. Smart TVs.
Sure.
I mean, our network here in the UK is very small. What we like doing is expanding as well. We like to show our work to people in the States as well, because you guys don't see much of the UK hotspots of paranormal. And I am, from talking to people, you love seeing the locations that we have here, the history. And that's what we intend to bring.
That's awesome.
I mean, we have been very delayed for the last year. Because we've had, the COVID restrictions, where we've literally just been doing nothing. I've been doing a bit of research. We've got some good locations booked in for this year. But apart from that, we've literally, I think, our next one's not till, we recently just done one where we investigated like a P3A, P3010 the boat, which was on Paraflixx, which just came out a few weeks back. I don't think it's ever been done before on one of them sort of boats. I mean, if you've watched it, you see the evidence we picked up there was quite. I mean, we've done a bit of research behind it. There's not much connections to what we got, but some of the stuff there on review, because you never see it when you're actually there. With the chart, it sounded like a little cry that we had on there as well. Something was thrown at us. You can see it in the background.
Oh, wow.
I mean, the one thing that we like the most about this is the Ouija board, because I love doing the Ouija boards. And usually when there's two of you, you don't really get that much the energy that you use. But I mean, we had some results on that. I mean, it came through. It didn't make sense, but for two people to do it, it was just phenomenal.
Now,
yeah, it wasn't one of our best.
Have you ever come into a location that you didn't know the history of it, or did you just kind of like do it blindly, or have you always known exactly where you're going?
With locations, the recent one that we've done, we looked into it because we need to know, where it was. But with places, I mean, history in the UK of most places already known already.
Right.
The one thing we don't really like is hearing people's experiences before we go there. Only the fact is, if someone turns around to you and says, "Oh, we went there and this guy was scratched on the back, or this area he was pulled," we're going to go there expecting it to happen, and then it doesn't happen, then it's like a big disappointment. So we always like to go into these locations with like a clear mind.
That's a good plan.
And that's what we do. Yeah, because we don't want to get disappointed. If someone says this happens, and all of a sudden we go there and it doesn't happen, you think, "Oh man!" I mean, we've had hype before. I mean, we went to, let's say, the Ancient Ram Inn in Gloucestershire. Phenomenal place. I think it's rated within the top 3 locations in the UK. I mean, we went there. It was quite nice. It's my first time there. You can't judge a place on its first time. So we are going back there again very shortly, within the next month. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah,
I know the history.
I got a cousin that lives in London actually, and she's been there for like, I think, the last 8-9 years. And she knows about the history. I mean, of different places there, and it's just the plethora of information of like haunted places is. I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, people.
Yeah, the UK is hoarding all the ghosts.
I know, right?
Hey,
right. I mean, it's just like
everywhere you go, there's a ghost on the corner.
Our building is too young.
You go down to the local pub by you or something, and you're like, "Oh yeah, there's like 5 spirits here." I mean, it's like, "Oh yeah, that's so and so, and that's so and so." Probably. But that's awesome, though. I mean, I would love to go to London to be able to just experience that.
There's loads of places in London. I mean, they've got the London Tombs. You can experience that. I mean, I've done that before. Yeah, the cat. Yeah. The tombs are good, but unfortunately, with these sort of places, to fully investigate it on your own with someone, they're just too expensive. That's the only downfall of these places. I mean, I went with a known group. I'm not going to give out the big names, but we went there. And I mean, it was just stupid. I mean, you're in a dungeon and you got like 30 people down there. Noise, ambient, everything. It just ruins it. It really does. And,
yeah, agreed.
I'm not really big in that whole big huge groups unless you have a super huge location. That you need that many people that you could split them all up. You know what I mean? And they get more evidence that way.
5 or 6.
I mean, exactly. I mean, there's some places like just the small buildings that like Ingleford Green Social Hall. I mean, it's a great place. You can only probably fit about 10 in there, but there is people that go in there in groups of like 20 or. Wow. It's just such a small place. That's my only downfall with these sort of big groups.
Right. Now, do you usually do events at places? I mean, do you host events or no?
No, to be honest, we're not an events team. We're not there to put on shows, and show people how done. But we did talk about this recently. I mean, we did the TikTok Halloween live event last year. That was I think it's probably one of the first that was ever done. I think it was just under, the broadcasting was probably just like of 750,000 throughout the followers that we had through there to broadcast it out. So it was a great place, but broadcasting through social media, when you're trying to film, it just doesn't work.
Right.
It's too much distraction to what you're actually there to focus for. It just takes the mind off it. I mean, if you're going there filming, doing this, it just gets all flustered.
Overwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, we are doing an event this year. We'll probably do one once a year. Just so we do have a lot of people that always message saying, can we come along with you guys? Do you do this, do that? But we're not at events or people. We're closed, filming location done, get our evidence between us and then broadcast, edit it done, no issues. But we do give the opportunity now to the public once a year. Again, this year we do it around Halloween time. We've got Englefield Green Social Hall, which I've been there before, great place. But I mean, I went there the other day just for a quick little walk around. It's still got the eerie atmosphere, but it's nice to let the public come along and just see how it's done. I mean, there's people there that watch our videos and think, it'd be good to come along and see you guys. So there it is. I mean, it's sold out already. So it'd be good to see people and actually go out to the public and show what we do.
Right. Do a lot of people know who you are now? That even if you've been on Paraflixx, I mean, people, you can, go do an investigation or whatever, and if somebody sees you and says, hey, that's those guys from Paraflixx, you know what I mean? Do you ever get recognized like that?
Paraflixx has only been going for less than 6 months, so it's going to be a while before anyone sort of watching. I mean, we've only got two shows that have been put out there at the moment. But when you know people in the paranormal field, right. If I was going to turn up to an event and I saw other people, everyone would know who I am, like that. But if I was to go to the public and all that lot, it's just hit and miss. It's not like
Right. It's not like being a super mega star,
No.
Yeah,
far from it.
Right.
Give him a year, he'll be there.
I doubt
He'll be on billboards. He'll be everywhere.
Yeah, right. So with the whole thing with the, when we were talking about the large people and investigations, I had seen a group of people go down to the Waverly Sanitarium. I don't know if you've heard about the Waverly. I've seen. It's just crazy how many people have actually gone down there at once, and there's so many different personal experiences that people have down there. Now, would you ever consider coming over here eventually to do an investigation like that?
I'm coming over to the States in November.
Oh, okay.
We are heading to New York.
Okay.
We are going to the Hinsdale House, meeting with Daniel Peace.
Okay.
We're going to do an investigation there. We are then heading over to the Conjuring House on Rhode Island, I believe it is. We've got that for the night.
Wow.
We are then heading to Salem to do a bit of filming out there.
Man, you're busy.
We are heading to Maryland as well. I think we're meeting Brandon Funhouse Paranormal. We are going to probably do a bit of work out there as well. I need to catch up with him. But that's in the pipeworks as well. There is another location, but I don't think we can actually say where that is at the moment. But we got a busy week.
I would say so.
I mean, we were meant to be there, I think, last year, but with COVID, it cancelled the flight. The movie booked for April, got cancelled in May. So I just turned around and said, you know what, we're just going November. So right. I think November the 10th. I think we're out for a week. As myself, I'm actually coming out with UK Haunted, Mickey York.
Okay.
Another friend of mine, just us two. We're really looking forward to this.
I bet.
There's so much.
Here, we want to go to London, and you want to come
we want to go where all the ghosts are.
Yeah. Ghost exchange trip.
Right,
there you go. An exchange program, You can bring some over with you when you come.
Yeah.
Right, man.
All right.
So
You got a question, Shane?
yeah, sure. So I don't know. You probably don't know much about me, but I do investigations in a much different way than the standard investigator. So most of my investigations are like lab equipment and numbers and statistics and things like that. I was just wondering what kind of of equipment that you guys use. Do you guys use different stuff than we use here in the States? How you kind of get through your evidence.
We've got loads. I mean, the best bit of kit that we use is always your voice recorder. I mean, Rich has always got that on record. The stuff he's picked up on that is just crazy.
Yeah.
2 bits of kits: camcorder, voice recorder. That's great. I mean, we have loads. I mean, we got the REM pod. Hardly ever use it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shouts out to my son.
Hey, Brandon.
What else we got? Yeah, that's our Brandon there. Good man. What else we got? We did recently use. Now, it's not very. I haven't seen it from other teams. Now, the Vortex. This has brought out one of the best results that we've ever had investigating. We investigated cache as well in Langdon Hills, Essex. Now, I'm not sure if you read the Haunted magazine or anything like that. It made one of the articles there.
Yeah.
So we went to cache as well, and we thought we'd use the Vortex machine. So what the Vortex machine is, you probably know what it is, a little disc that spins around. We have a laser beam with a bit of smoke. We shoot the laser into the disc, and it produces like a little vortex where we can see stuff that actually comes through. It was a very, very, very intense night. We had a perspex that was scratched in the back of the neck, really bad. I'm not one person to believe scratching. I always thought you done it yourself, you hit something, but to see it with your eyes next to you, it's immense. We got warnings on the Ouija board from a certain evil entity, as we'll say. But when we set up the technologies we're saying, the Vortex, you can, when it's spinning with the smoke, the only way we got the evidence is reviewing it. So you've got an hour doing frame by frame by frame of what actually comes through.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's got to be done. The best part is always the review, bit by bit. And we picked up on that, a demonic entity. Now, I'm not sure if you've seen the picture. It's in one of our groups. It does match the image of Bale, which is one of the 6 Legion demons. And comparing it to an original picture and what we had, the comparison was just crazy.
Wow.
And that was out straight from the Vortex. I mean, not many teams again use the Vortex, so that was something that we used as a one-off there, and it brought us just amazing results. I mean, you're very restricted to where you can use it because you can't set off any smoke bombs indoors or anything like that. So it was a wow. We did it inside the well and it came out. And from the Ouija board on that, the connection was just crazy. Another one as well, if you're going with the technology, is the Necrophonic app as well. I'm not sure if you guys use that.
I used it. I have it on my phone.
tried
Actually. Yeah,
It's amazing.
Stuff. Yeah, I've had a few good stuff on there. From the place I'm at now.
Nice. I mean, what we used to tend to do as well is we, with the Necrophonic apps, we always believe that there's always that glitch in there, whether they're programmed to give you false evidence or anything like that.
Right.
So I've been to a location before where we deliberately not talk when the Necrophonic app is on and active, because I don't know whether it's listening to anything that you're talking about, calling out from, relaying it into the sound bank. So we've started off with a fresh phone before and actually transferred Necrophonic app, left it there playing, and we've had it to, I mean, we investigated the best evidence we've had from Necrophonic is when we went to the Hellfire Caves, which is in West Wickham. So the caves at the top of the hill with the Dashwood family. We went down there, and the story behind it all is a gentleman's looking for his heart that's lost, that was stolen, basically. We had the Necrophonic app out, not spoken about the location or anything, and we had it playing. I remember the exact moment. Rich was standing there, and we could hear like crying from the app, which is standard. I think you get that anyway. But then when he said, "What is it? What have you lost? What is it you're looking for?" And when it goes quiet, and then you hear the whisper, "Heart," the significance that you could have had that at that right moment is just it shook us up. That's all I'm done.
You kind of got to take some of those like with a grain of salt, you know what I mean, and just kind of you know, I mean, if it's something that doesn't quite fit, like I've had been in the basement of this hotel where I've used that app and actually have had responses that we were talking about the light or something, trying to, you know, one of our investigators was trying to help somebody cross over or whatever. The female voice said on there, "I love light." You know, I mean, now that's a sentence to me. You know what I mean?
That so, is, you don't very get a full connection sentence from an
usually just get kind of blips here and there, and then, you know, when we told them what year it was, and we had a guy's voice come out and say bullshit, you know. So, I mean, yeah, that's the one word.
We had some.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like you just got to 50-50 in my, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, from the recent one that we did we had the Ovilus app on the phone, and we were on the ship, well, the boat, and the app, I'm not sure if they are programmed to come out with these words, but it did turn around and say, like, F you, or something like that. It was like that one word, and I thought, I'm sure they don't put these voices, swear words into these banks.
Yeah, we've had a couple of times where we've had, you know, cuss words.
Yeah, so I mean, but the voice banks are just crazy. But then you get like the PSP7, where you're scattering for the FM AM signals, and that you can just get anything on that. I mean, they're only good. I personally believe if you're downstairs in a bunker locked off where you can't get any FM and you're using white noise or anything like that.
Right. Yep. So yeah, I mean, I've used like just white noise before, you know, and not had anything come out. You know what I mean? But yeah, and some of these like the SB7s and this and that, I don't use those. I mean, I've had a couple of them, and I didn't have the greatest, you know, evidence with them. You know what I mean? I couldn't get past the fact. I mean, not to say that they're bad or not. You know, it's, you know, to each his own. You know what I mean? I just didn't find it was just something that I would use anymore. I didn't use it much, and you know, I just decided that I was going to try something different. You know, and so, but yeah, I just, you know, and not to say that
there's so many out there that you can use.
Right.
I mean, the PSP7, and you got the SP7, the MK3, which is another one that I use, which is like the spirit box itself.
Unit. I build most all my own equipment. I don't buy almost anything. So, and I've gotten some pretty good stuff on some of the stuff I built. So.
And you know it's not programmed to do it. You know it's full on your stuff.
I know it's in it because I made it. So.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, there's so many different pieces of equipment that different paranormal people in the field that they use. And hey, if it works for you, then that's fine. You don't use it. If that's what you like to use, then you know we're all trying to get in to try to get this, like, to get evidence, and to, you know, we're all kind of doing the same thing. You know, it's not. I hate this whole competition garbage. I mean, it's not a competition.
I've got so many friends over that. It's unreal.
I know. It's just like, why do you even want to act like that? I just don't get it. It's not. Nobody's better than anybody else. You know.
It is, unfortunately.
It is. Unfortunately.
It's one thing that it's one of these things that will just be there for life.
Yeah. I mean, anytime you have a group of people doing something, there's always a bad egg in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, there's more good eggs than the bad. I mean, most teams are all, you know, they do help each other out. But you do get the odd one or two that will, who knows?
Just want to make waves, you know.
Yeah.
You know?
So, have you ever been on an investigation or done any work with Beth Darlington? She's out of London.
I haven't.
Oh, okay.
No.
Pretty big name ghost thing. She runs a couple different websites, and she, you know, does a bunch of stuff. So I just didn't know if you come across her being in the same city.
No, I haven't. No, but I will look her up.
But yeah, you will. You have to look her up. You never
Yeah,
know.
Beth Darlington. She's a good girl, and she has, like I say, some learning educational sites, and she does talks and seminars and stuff like that,
Okay,
training stuff. So
Yeah.
cool.
Now, have you been on an investigation where you get there and you get nothing?
I wouldn't say. Oh,
well, they have all the
once.
ghosts there, of course.
I mean, I've been to I mean, there's loads I've been to. To say nothing. I mean, not really. No, I've been to places that have been overhyped.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
You
I
know,
was
when
gonna
people
say, have
say
you gone to a place where it's been so overhyped that
Yeah,
you might have some,
many.
yeah. You might have
Many,
some stuff, but
I mean, let's just say again with the ancient Ram Inn, that place was really hyped up, and when we went there, it really wasn't what I expected it to be. But again, you can't really judge it on one visit.
sure. You need a lot of time.
You know, you go to one place, nothing happens, so be it. You know, this is what they say: spirits are not performers; they'll talk to you when they're ready. So we'll come back again for a second visit, and if we get nothing again, I might come back for a third visit. You know, if I after that, I won't bother. You know, but yeah, I mean, I've been to places. I've had a few taps on the wall. You know, is it taps or is it water pipes or anything like that? I mean, I've had some of that, but I haven't been to a place where it's completely dead and just sat there all night. I mean, yeah.
We get that in America all the time. You go to private residences, they swear that there's a demon coming up out of the floor every night, and you come in there and you sit there all night and not an instrument makes a sound, nothing happens. You stare at the wall.
He's on vacation for the night.
Yeah. And then it's like, well, that was, you spend like 6 hours reviewing the next day, and you're like, nothing, just
nothing.
Right.
But then it's peace of mind, isn't it?
It's just,
So, do you ever have anything follow you home?
No.
Or have you ever?
No. We're very strict on closing stuff down and
smart
cleansing before we leave a location.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah, touch wood. So far, I haven't had anything that's come home with me and caused me any hassle. apart from the haunted doll I was given, which I gave away, but that's about it, really.
That's good. I mean, I've actually heard there's been a couple people I know that they bring home stuff all the time, and I'm like, where are you guys going, and how are you not guarding yourself?
And these are people that that open up a Ouija board and don't close them.
Ooh,
probably.
You're getting surprised.
Big surprise.
Be surprised how many people knock the Ouija board on investigations because of what Hollywood says. And that is it. And you don't close the board, it's going to potentially cause more issues in life. I mean, you have people that go, I've had something in my house all this time for years, and then they look back and think, we used to play around with these sort of spirit boards when we were kids. And you think, well, there you go. Possibly.
Right. Ouija boards are not one of my favorites at all. I used them when I was younger and didn't have great experiences with them. So I just choose not to interact with that. My sister used to have an old antique one that she used to hang on the wall when I would like visit and stay with her sometimes. And the guest room was downstairs in the basement, and I would have to go down the staircase, and that Ouija board was hanging right on the wall. And every time I walked by that thing, it would give me the willies. I mean, it would just be like, the feeling I would get off of it was just be like, ugh, you know what I mean? And it's just like, and she thought it was funny, and I'm like, that's not funny, So, but yeah.
Not good.
Yeah. So what are your up and coming things besides coming to America? You know?
Well, we've got the Ancient Ram booked in. That's coming up within the next few months. That is our second visit there, and it will not be with any teams. Well, no, sorry, there is a team that we are with, but there's only 4 people altogether. There's not a big group. So that there, we will be filming again with Paraflixx. After that, we move on to nothing in the next month, October, which we will be in the Englefield Green Social, which is our event for the year, where the public will be coming with us. October, once that's done, a week later, I'm flying out to New York. I've got, all these locations booked. November, when I get back, I'll probably just pass out until next year.
Yeah.
But we've got a few months with days off, but we need to sit down when I see Rich and put heads together, because he's the one that's doing all the researching of the locations, and he comes up with some phenomenal stuff where people haven't gone before. We're not the sort of team that will go to all right, we are doing the buildings, but we like to go to places where people don't tend to go, if that makes sense. I mean, with the Higgins boat that we did, and the P3, the Higgins boat, no one would ever go to one of them. There is attachments on these sort of stuff because there's history behind it. And that's the sort of stuff we like to do. It's different. Again, for him to come up with something like that and the research, it's just amazing. So he's got a few more, but he's just going through them all at the moment. And when I see him next, because he's fishing at the moment, we will be getting some more footage.
Okay. So have you guys ever investigated a castle, like a big castle?
We haven't, no.
That would be something.
Not yet.
That would just
that'd be cool.
Oh yeah.
That would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, it would. I'm friends with some guys that Scotland Paranormal, I think they're called, and they've got some great pictures of some places they've been in Scotland, and they said it's just the history there. Oh yeah, I mean the history alone. Yeah.
I mean, we've got his pubs down in London. Yeah. Public buildings where we are. Up there, they've got all the rocks and the highlands, all the best stuff, the peaceful stuff, and the castles.
Right.
I mean, we've got some places here, but they're just way out of our price league on some of them to investigate with. One day, though.
How far have you guys traveled for an investigation?
We've been to the furthest would probably be myself, where I went to Pontefract, which was nearly a 4-hour drive. That was for East Drive. But last year, before lockdown happened, we travelled to Cannock Chase, which is another 3.5-hour drive, which is known for the black-eyed children. We spent the night in that forest, and God,
no, thank you.
I'd do it.
Again, it's a great place, great experience being out there. Activity-wise, again, from what we read and getting there, it was a bit overhyped. But again, it was our first visit. But looking back on the evidence, we did get a few, again, demonic sort of stuff that come through on these. One of the radios telling us to die. Like the normal stuff they say. Captures or anything like that. Video footage, nothing. But again, it's hit and miss. But we did get some good footage with the spirit box. But yeah, that is the furthest we've travelled.
Oh wow! What would you say would be your scariest investigation that actually shook you and said, "Holy crap, that was really kind of freaky"?
Probably, I did debate this before, whether it was the Englefield Green or going back to the Hellfire Caves. Englefield Green was different because Rich is not one to get hurt in investigations. He's very full on, but to see him choke downstairs when something took a hold of him, where he couldn't breathe for about 30 odd seconds, and the camera to cut out and not film it. and then for him to go home and see he's been scratched all up, he's in the leg. That there was a bit like, yeah, okay, that was a bit too much. But going back to the Hellfire Caves, now the differences between that is you're 3/4 of a mile underground and you can't go nowhere. It's just one way there and one way back. And I remember going down there, and then when we got the heart stuff, we were like, whoa. And then we turned around, I remember this, we turned around and Rich said something about he saw something or that was there. Then all of a sudden his backpack was pulled and he was pulled back. Wow. And that scared the living daylights. And I remember shooting off, and I forgot about him, so I had to come back and get him. But yeah, that there was quite intense as well. But nothing has really like made me petrified. It shook me up to the point, but I still go back.
Right. Yeah, I don't think I've ever been on an investigation that I've been like terrified or anything like that, but like just like kind of shocked, you know what I mean? Kind of like, holy crap, did that really happen? You know, type deal.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, and then I hear some other people that I know that talk about this like overhyped places and this happened and this, and then you get there and it's like, yeah, that's really not much of anything. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like, okay, I don't know what you guys are dealing with or what you have with you, or, you know, if you have an attachment that's, you know, doing this,
let's come with you. Yes.
Right. And I don't think a lot of people don't realize that too, is that, you know, different people with different groups or whatever go to investigations. It depends if, you know, certain people have attachments or certain people have unwanted guests or whatever, you know, with them or whatnot, you know, that can cause activity. You know, it could interact with whatever place that you're going to. It could just be a catalyst for something bad.
I mean, I mean, people have. I mean, they can have attachments from, you know, not doing investigations and properly, or having, you know, like there is good attachments as well. I mean, there is loved ones that I've been to before. We've been to Calvert and Hatch, and we've had. Not only that, this was at the old Lamb as well. There's 2 separate locations we've been to where we do get the activity, not from, you know, the place itself, from someone that's actually bought. Well, they haven't bought, that they've had an attachment with them, a loved one that's still there with them that wants to come and pass that message on. I mean, I've seen that many a times, you know, and it's great. It's nice to see that reassurance on their face as well. Sometimes it can be a bit too much, but yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
So
They bring
have you
it with
guys
them.
actually done any like full like seance style investigations? You know, put the equipment away, everybody sits in a big circle around the table and, you know, have a formal seance. Have you done it that way?
Not really, because there's only 2 of us. So it's a bit difficult, that one. But I mean, we can sit there and hold hands, but yeah. I have done it once, though, where I went with a team to the Hellfire Caves, which they've done the human pendulum in the middle. So we all went around in a circle in the middle. Now, I'm not really, you know, sold on that. It's just one of the things I actually volunteered to be in the middle, and I was being pushed and pulled, but was it me doing it? Was it, you know, or was it something actually pushing me? It's just one of those things, you know, from a long night, you don't know if you're tired, you're swaying or anything like that.
Can't really tell.
It was giving out some good answers. Some of them didn't make sense. So very, very 50-50 on that one.
There you go. Yep.
Right. It goes back to that whole take it with a grain of salt, 50-50.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I've never done a seance. I probably won't. I just think that it's, you know, me being who I am and being able to sense spirits and all this, I don't need to sit at a table and do that. But I tell you what, there's been times where, I mean, like I've talked to other people on the show before, is like, you know, I've gone into Walmart here and it's just like the negative energy usually is that it's in Walmart. It's just astronomical.
Probably in the produce section.
Right? Right. Yeah, I mean, it's just like you can go anywhere. I mean, we have a lot of historical buildings downtown here where I live in Wisconsin, Lake Geneva, and I can walk into, you know, any of these old shops or whatever, and it's just, you know, different collective of energy, you know, all the way around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I love that history aspect of it. Is just,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
you can sort of get a feel for the place that you investigate.
Right.
I do get that sometimes when you walk in and you think, yeah, this isn't good in here. You know, you can just get that feeling sometimes.
Sure.
But you never ever walk into a place and you think, oh, this is quite a nice little place. You always walk in and you think they're watching, you know.
Yeah. I think that there hasn't really been. I mean, there's some places where it's been, you know, it's okay. It's a pretty cool place because it's old, but I mean,
well,
just the residual history is just.
Yeah, for us, old is the 1800s. For them, it's like the 1200s.
Yeah, right.
So they got a few years on us.
Yeah, just a few. Right. Yeah, so that's why we have to go to London or go over to Europe or whatever. And
you got to come over here. I mean, there's some great places here. I mean, one place you might like if you like the war stuff. I mean, you got the Calvin Hatch bunker, which is another place that we love doing. That's in Essex. The stuff that we've got from there as well. I mean, I think we only filmed it once. But we do want to go back there again. I'll tell you one little story on that one that did sort of creep me out a little bit, because we all have like a little base room upstairs, and obviously the toilet's at the other side, so I thought I need to go to the toilet. So I walked out there, and at the top of the stairs, all I could hear downstairs were women talking, and I thought, hold on, everyone's in that room behind me. And not only that, I remember I put my head over listening, and you could hear the typewriters going as well. And it was just crazy. I could hear a full-on conversation with ladies down there, typewriters going, and I had to call people out. So I called them out. We all stood there, and we could actually hear. It was like a command room downstairs where they were talking. And we went downstairs to have a quick look, very slowly. And obviously, it's just an empty room. There is the, I think it's Celix typewriters. I think they're sitting there. It was just crazy. I mean, everyone heard it. I mean, it was just women talking. But then beside us, we had a door. Now, there was a draft coming through the door as well, which was making the door click a little bit as it was moving. Now, could it have been the door that was doing that? Possibly. But what explains the talking that we heard down there?
Right.
See, for one thing, you've got another. But so the typewriter maybe could have been the door. But the talking, I can't answer it.
Right.
Yeah, because we've had investigations where, you know, we had all males at the investigation, but we get female voices answering in the background. Like if they had the voice recorder in their pocket and they're just walking around between areas and talking, you know, and then all of a sudden you hear this, you know, female voice answer it 2 or 3 times. And of course, there's no females on site. So it's like,
no, which is even better.
Yeah.
Because then you'll be able to actually.
So.
One of my investigators, actually, my tech guys from my team, Wisconsin Paranormal Research, it was with another team years ago, and he sent me an audio clip of, he was with these 2 girls, and one of them was a sensitive, and he was recording this, and the 2 girls were talking back and forth, and she said something like, "Crap, I forgot my camera," and this female voice came through and said, "Did you forget your camera?" You know, like sarcastically. And I was like, and he said nobody was there. He said it was just the 2 girls there, and it was.
Is that on a voice recorder?
It was on a voice recorder.
Yeah.
And they were. He had a voice recorder, and he was talking, or he was just leaving it run, and they were talking amongst themselves.
It's amazing.
And,
you know, and I was like, I think I still have that. I need to find that and download it and post it because it was just funny
like a direct response.
Right, and there was like this girl sarcastically said, "Did you forget your camera?" You know, and it was like, so I mean, yeah. If anybody says that spirits can't be kind of funny and sarcastic, they're full of crap.
I've got yeah, they can be very. Going back to EVPs, this brings me back to the place we're going to in October, Ingerfield Green. Again, captured without even knowing. There is one spirit there that we know the name of Thomas, which Rich done a bit of research on. Now, he's one of the wardrobe men, which they call, and he likes to creep around the stay upstairs. And this was probably, actually, I should have put this in with the creepiest part. We were trying to call out for Thomas pretty much for a good half hour. The filming didn't film in the room that we were in. So that cut out whatever happened there. The camera was fine because it filmed everywhere else. But when we moved into the other room and we were trying to call for Thomas, we were shouting out like, you know, come find us, come forward, give us some sort of, we've got an EVP recorder here for you, talk into us. We sort of kept playing back, we got nothing. And I remember the words now with Rich saying, all right, Thomas, we're going to go now, Thomas. Goodbye, Thomas. And that was it, we left. Not only did we leave, we went down the stairs. Now the stairs are kept open with like a little wedge because the door at the time did not have a handle on the other side. Right. So if that door shuts, you're stuck there unless someone's on the other side to open it up for you. Now, as we were going down the stairs, the door obviously slammed shut. But Rich, thank God, was already about 5-6 feet in front of us, who managed to come back and open up the door for us. Now, the wedge was put in there. Again, this is not on camera. It never is. But something that moved the wedge as he went to shut the door on my face. And yeah, and not only that, when we did the review on this, it is posted on one of the Instagram clips. I think it's on TikTok as well. When we hear Rich saying, goodbye, Thomas, we're going now, Thomas, you can clearly hear a direct response, come find me. And that was it. Come find me. That was taunting us.
Right.
And that was when the door slammed shut. About an hour later, Rich was choked downstairs, scratched. So it was playing games with us. But unfortunately, we didn't know this until we were home on the review, where everything is all found.
Right.
But that was probably one of the clearest responses from a spirit telling you to come find me. I'll send that over to you guys. You have a listen to it. I get cold shivers every time to speak about it.
Yeah, it sounds like. I mean, it's just.
So here's a question. So in the UK, do the EVPs have a UK accent, or a European? I mean, because I always wondered about. It's like, okay, in America, usually whenever we hear EVPs, they sound like our
dialect
accent.
Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? Because in the UK, I mean, they're English EVPs, but then I've had to have it translated for me from a guy called Miguel. It was, I believe, Latin or Spanish. I can't think which one it was now. I think it is Spanish, and that was in my flat. And this is why you don't investigate your own home. It was a clear. It was a. I remember this playing, just recording, just calling out one night about a few years back, and the translation from that was along the lines of "you're dead" or something like that. I'm dead or you're dead, or it wasn't very nice. And I remember sending that off, and he had a look at it and said, "Yeah, that's clear, that's Spanish," or I think it was Spanish or something like that. But yeah, so for that sort of spirit here, in a different language, they go everywhere.
Okay.
I think that one of the funniest memes I've seen about the paranormal was when they said, when you're in a German castle and you ask the spirits in English and they expect them to respond to you in English.
An English response.
Yeah, they probably don't even know English.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So
that's brilliant.
Yeah. I've seen that a couple different times where they do that. I'm like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, we've actually had quite a few EVPs from this hotel that I'm in right now, and I know the spirits pretty well here. And one of these days, I'm gonna bring Shane here, and we're gonna test out his equipment and do an investigation and see what we can get, because there's I've caught a lot of activity here and even on camera, but I tell you what, some of the best stuff I've caught on my camera, even on my phone, when I go to review it and I know it's there, it's not there, it's gone.
Oh.
And I hate that. I had a perfect shadow on in one of the rooms and downstairs, and I caught it clear as day The shadow came through the doorway. I could see the shadow on the floor. And if it was somebody walking, because that floor creaks really, because it's old, and if somebody was walking in there, you would hear it creak, you know. And so, but I heard nothing creaking, nothing like that. And I caught it, and I turned around and went to show one of my other investigators. I said, "You got to look at this." I hit the play button because when I went to go back to it, it started right when I turned around to go tell my investigator. The part that I actually caught of the shadow was gone.
Wow.
It's always the way.
That's happened probably about 3 or 4 times
computers do all the work.
since I've been here. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to see the investigations like I do, if you go back a couple podcasts to my Tech Talk, I did a demonstration of how I do investigations. That's why I wanted to investigate that hotel, because I do it different than all you guys. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see how you do it.
Yeah. Watch the Tech Talk with Shane.
Yeah, it's pretty in depth and pretty crazy. So yeah. But yeah, eventually, you'll be, in the USA and seeing. Have you been here before, or is this going to be your first time?
I've been there on holiday, but it's the first time filming. Yeah, New York. First time I've been to New York. So it's
that's a lot of activity in New York. I mean, that's just, and I know of the Hillsdale house, but I can tell you right now, the vibes that I get from that place. I've never been there, but it's active.
It's one of the ones I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, I mean
there you go.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Nick Groff did that on Paranormal Lockdown once, and
I've seen the episode.
That was crazy with him. He was he was totally affected by that.
Especially that room that no one sleeps in upstairs.
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah, I was just like, holy cow. Yeah,
I might have to sleep in there.
There you go. That's what I do.
Well, I know. Brandon Crowdy is going to be going. Are you going with him, or is he going to be? Are you guys going to go? Okay.
Not the Hindus there, no.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I know that he said he was going to do that, and I told him. I said, "Man," I said, "guard yourself." I said, "Be careful." I said, "That house is active." So I'll say the same to you because it's got some spirits there. So, but
that's what we like to hear.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. This is like old hat to you. This will be like it's just all the spirits that you deal with over there in London and everything, and this is gonna be nothing.
Nothing. It's just a walk in the park.
All right.
As long as it's not going to pick me up and throw me about and scratch me to death, we're all good.
Oh yeah, no kidding, right? Yeah, yeah. I've been scratched before, but I'm usually in the place I was living, and it wasn't by my wife, but but no, but I mean it was basically you wake up and you're like, how did I get that? And I just chalk it up as that I did it myself. But there's sometimes that you just like, I couldn't have done that to myself.
Yeah.
The scratches always seem to be the same, don't they? You get it's usually the 3 claws. That's what I always keep seeing anyway.
Really? Sign of the Trinity,
Mocking the Trinity. Mocking of the Trinity. Yeah, I mean, this was I think it was 2 scratches that we had when we did where we picked up the demonic entity and the picture itself of the person. And that was when an individual was scratched down the back of the neck. Scratched. He was scratched bad. Not only that, one of the other investigators had a scratch on the leg as well. But yeah, that was a very intense night. And I mean, we did go back there to film it again. It wasn't as bad as it was the first time we were there.
You were glutton for punishment. You wanted to go back and see.
We wanted back for more.
All right.
I would do. I'd be like, I'm not on that.
Yeah, nothing. But we got scratched pretty good. Let's go back.
Yeah,
I'm missing out. With my
turn. All right. Well, I think we're about out of time, but I want to thank Mark Kenny for coming on and talking with us. It's been awesome. Man. It's been a blast.
Big thanks to you guys for having me.
Yeah. So, you want to let us know where people can find you? Yeah,
I mean, you can find us on the amazing Paraflixx. we're on Paraflixx. We are on Facebook as well. We're on Twitter. But our Facebook group is the one. If you put West London Paranormal in the search bars, it brings it all up from there. Instagram, West London Paranormal. Facebook, West London Paranormal. Everything's West London Paranormal. You'll find us all on there. And we do have the link, which will bring up all the other social networking we got. I mean, the TikTok is just starting, but Facebook is the one where we put all our stuff on.
Yeah, same here. So, yeah. All right. Well, it's been great having you, and we really appreciate it. We hope that we can have you back.
Yep.
Yeah, always. And hopefully next time I'll have Rich with me next time. Yeah, it'd be great to talk to him as well.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That'd be cool. Right on. Yeah. Well, we want to thank everybody for watching this special early edition of the Studio 6 Paranormal Podcast. And we'll be here at 7 Central Time tonight to interview Brandon Alvis. And we're looking forward to that. So we'll see you all soon.